Okay. So, welcome to Devorah Leah Torah class. We are going to discuss about Rosh Hashana. So, every holiday, okay, every Yom Tov has its theme. Okay, you have Rosh Hashanah, you have Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and so on. Each lesson, each Yom Tov has its lesson, not only for that time, for that holiday, for the whole year. And you get it, it's sort of like a boost, like a boost or whatever, and it gives you strength, like Pesach, freedom the Sahara, freedom of. So that gives you the strength for the whole year until next year. And then Shavuos, I think we're in the Torah, that dedication, it gives you strength for the whole year, right? And Sukkot is the being happy, joy, simcha, happy you're a Jew, happy you're doing God's commandments, happy God chose all the things that Jews be proud, happy about. Sukkot is a time we get that inspiration and that ability, the encouragement, the right. That Yom Tov gives us that that strength that we need to fill out for the whole year, right? To pass. So when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, what's the theme of Rosh Hashanah? Well, that gives us strength for the whole year, right? Now, if you look into the prayers of Rosh Hashanah, what do we say? One thing we say in the prayers is Zeh Hayom Techilat Maasecha, which means today, Zeh Hayom, this day is the beginning of your doings. Uh, um, the Torah, I remember for the first day. So today, Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of the whole creation, right? So now the question is, always question, when was the world created? Not Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the sixth day of creation. The beginning of creation is the 25th day of Elul, which is actually tomorrow. That was the beginning. Adam was created on Friday, right? The first day of creation was Sunday. The sixth day is when Adam created, and that's the day we celebrate Rosh Hashanah. Wait, that's not the beginning of creation. We should say today is the sixth day of creation. It's not the first day. How can you say in the prayer, today's the beginning? What do you mean beginning? It's not the beginning. Practice, it's the sixth day.
Maybe because Adam and Chava were created on the sixth day.
Yes. But yes, exactly. But the question is why? Because that, yes. So our sages tell us, yes, exactly what because Adam and Chava was created that day, man, human being was created that day. Therefore, we're saying that this is the beginning of creation. Because Adam was created that day. And since he's the whole purpose of creation, so we're going to consider, since the whole creation was created for man, so therefore we're going to say that today is the beginning of everything. Rosh Hashanah. But that alone needs an explanation. What do you mean the world is? There's a massive world out there. How can you say that the world is insignificant without Adam? Without Adam, the world is insignificant. It's something important.
Well, before that, there were the trees and the animals and the fish,
That's
and
right.
for
That's so
every
much.
day. So what happened is that every kingdom lived for itself. Everything lived for itself. It's the man that came together on the sixth day and started pulling things together. So
That's what we're
that's
going to
where
discuss.
actually things start making sense in the world, if you will.
Oh, that's what we're going to discuss. So basically, you have so much in the world. Like we say in the prayers, Hashem. Well, look how many things God created: the stars, the sun, the moon, on and on and on. However much we know, there's so much more that we don't know, right? The planets and so many things God created, and we're just kind of disregarding all of it. Now, inanimate is much more than plants. Plants, and there's more plants than animals, right? There's more blades of grass and all the plant than animals. And then there's more animals than human beings. So the person is so insignificant compared to everything else. Why are we making such a deal, such a big, such a big, as they say, such a big grace of simus, such a big deal out of this Adam, human being, if seemingly he's only such a small part, such a small part of creation. He's like compared to the whole world, is nothing, right? Animals are much more powerful than human being, physically speaking, right? So why are we making such a deal of creation of the human being when they're the last, and then seemingly compared to everything else, they're nothing? So what's the explanation for this? Um, that the fact that and everything else, there's four levels here, right? There's inanimate, there is sameach, things that grow, chai, animals, and then human beings. They're greater, yes, in quantity. In quantity, they're greater. Yes, that's true. Can't take that away. That's true. They're bigger than you. But in quality, which is the main thing that counts, a human being is much greater. We're greater than everything. In quality wise. Okay? Um what is it? What's the inanimate, okay? Don't have just 1 second. Put it here. Yeah. The inanimate, okay, they don't they don't have seichel at all, have no intelligence whatsoever. Stone, rocks, right? No life, no life to it. You can't say it's alive. It exists. You wouldn't say it has a grow some life, something alive in there. But when you have plants, right? Yeah, you can say that's alive. That's a live plant, a dead plant, right? You can see it. A plant can grow. You see a live plant. There's some life to it, right? You have I'm saying before that, but a plant, the only way it's alive, it works is when it's connected to its source. It's connected to the ground. Once you chop it off, there's no ground. There's no plants anymore. It's not. You cut it off, disconnected from its source. It's nothing, right? Not alive anymore. It has to be constantly connected to the ground, its source. But welcome, Shmolik. But an animal, the other hand, has it's alive even after it connected to the ground. It's alive wherever it is, right? It can move around, goes and comes. Animals, right? A living thing, a living being. It can move around, and they have seichel. They have intelligence. They have intellect, right? And a person also has an intellect. So what's the difference between the intellect of an animal and the intellect of a person? A foolish question. An animal, everyone knows, yes, it utilizes his intellect, but his whole mind, his whole is all for himself. How am I going to survive? How can I get food? How can I get water? How am I? Look at the squirrels right here. We have squirrels all over the place. They have a lot of intelligence. What they're doing the whole spring, they're taking all their food and they're hiding all different places. Why they put it in one place? Well, they know very well that if in one place the food is going to be taken away, they have another place to go to, right? They have all this in mind. You think you see a squirrel running around, they're just running around. There's a whole thing going on there, whole operation. right? They hide some food here, some food there, some food the other place, and they, they're a lot of intelligence, but all their intelligence is used for the personal self, right? They don't have the intelligence, but a human being's intelligence, you will call that an independent intelligence. What do you mean, an independent intelligence? You can use your mind for things that have nothing to do with yourself, right? You can use your mind to study science. If that's to do with my physical body, I'm just studying math. I'm studying all different things you can study. That's nothing. You can use a person can utilize his mind, his intelligence, for things that are not to do with his physical survival. You can. You have the ability to, right? So, so what's the purpose of the seichel of intelligence of a human being? He's supposed to use his mind so much to realize that God is beyond intelligence, beyond his intelligence. He has to understand so much and try to understand God and to come to this realization that however much he understands he will still not get to where God is really. And God's above his intelligence that he grasps from his own. And he can't, impossible. Because we're creation. How can we understand our creator? Right? So you have the thought. So that we're trying to say in quantity, yes, the others are more than us. The inanimate, the vegetables, animals. But in quality, we're a whole different ballgame. We can't even compare the human being to everything else. Right? We're in such a different ball completely. Right? That we can use, like, we have something in us that we can separate ourselves from ourselves and think about Hashem above. We're not thinking of our own. We can use our mind to think things beyond. They say out of the box, as they say in America, out of the box. Right? So, uh, um, what do we learn from what do we learn from this? Or what might a person think about? A person might think in his mind and say, there's more people in the world there's more physical in the world than spiritual. There's more material. There's more people in the world involved in material stuff than spiritual stuff. So you might mistakenly think, that maybe the material is more important. Look, there's more people involved in material stuff, physical things, and the minds of it than the people involved in spiritual stuff. Most, right? So he might say that's the main thing and forget about this, or not pay attention to the spiritual part of himself or part of his brain. This is what Rosh Hashana comes and teaches us. No. First, the opposite is true. The main thing is the ruchnis, the spirituality. The ruchnis, the spiritual part of the person, or the abilities of the person. And that's why he was created. And that's the whole purpose of everything. And without him, the whole world is important. The person is so important. He is so much greater than everything else. In the main thing, in the quality point of view, right? He's so much more important, and that someone has such more of an important role, right, than the material part of everything. And that's the main thing. That's what Rosh Hashanah teaches us. That the main thing is to pay attention is the more of the purpose of a man, what we're supposed to do in the world. And without a man, without us doing our purpose, the world has no meaning. We bring meaning into everything. And we serve Hashem properly. Utilize what we we have the ability to take this world and make the world a place for God, to utilize the world properly. So yes, that's why you're going to call Hashana Tchilas Masach at the beginning of everything, because that's when everything started. That's the main purpose of everything. Everything is brought out to its full ability, its full fruition. The way it's supposed to be is when person's created and serves God properly. Then everything falls in place. I give an example. Like you have a plant, you have many machines, and I don't know, all different stuff there. And it's not working. It didn't start. You have the machines there, but nothing. It's not. It hasn't started yet. Nothing's happening. There's nothing working. Somebody comes and connects the electric and puts on this. Then, the things have started to work. When you're going to say the plant started working? When you're going to call the beginning of the plant? Not just when you put the machines inside, which has no meaning, which has no purpose. It can't do anything. When you connect the plants to the wires, you connect it to and it starts working. Now it's the beginning of the factory. Right? Now everything's working. Now it's going the way it should be. So sending in the world, you have everything there before, but it had no meaning. The purpose was not there. When a person comes, he brings a completion in everything that was here before him. The world doesn't come to its completeness, its purpose, until the man's here. And then he makes the whole world and brings it to its right stage. And therefore we can call Rosh Hashanah the beginning of everything. That's when everything started. Even though they're physically here before, but that's insignificant compared to, and then once a person's here, which is much greater in quality, that's when everything really starts. So therefore, Rosh Hashanah is going to be called the beginning of everything. All right. I hope you enjoy the class, and thanks everyone for joining.